Who's a character you despised as a kid, but now as an adult, you totally understand? The Baroness from The Sound of Music. Of course she is going to be insecure, when her fiancé is clearly in love with a younger woman he has known like 3 days. And it made me annoyed when the captain proposed to Maria before the Baroness probably even had time to leave the property. She didn't even react badly to the breakup, either. Given the situation, she actually handled things with some degree of grace. The only really bad thing about the Baroness was that she didn't like kids, but that's kind of more on the captain than her. He's the one who had the obligation to the kids, so he should have prioritized finding someone who would be a good stepmother. Molly grew from the last unicorn. Where were you 20 years ago, 10 years ago? How dare you come to me now, when I am this? I used to hate her for yelling at the unicorn as a kid. Now it makes me tear up. I totally get it, Molly. Look at how our lives turned out. How bitter it feels. If only something magical had visited our lives when we were young and still had hopes and dreams. I get it. Edit, my copy-pasted quote from Goodreads had a spelling error, did not expect that. Anyway, I remember the quote from the movie better, just didn't grab it. Uncle Owen being hard on Luke resonates with any kid whose parents didn't let them have their way, but the dude took in a child no questions asked and was just overprotective because to his knowledge being a Jedi/a life of adventure in general killed his stepbrother. Raoul from Phantom of the Opera. He just seems so plain and boring. The Phantom was tragic and misunderstood, now it's completely flipped. The Phantom was not misunderstood. He was grooming a child and Madame Gyri was in complete support of it. Raoul was definitely the hero and the right fit for Christine. Benson from Regular Show. As a kid, I hated him for his bad temper and being mean to the main characters, but now I understand that his anger is usually justified since the park is his responsibility and Mordecai and Rigby really are destructive and lazy. Also, as I grew up watching the show, I realized his bad temper lessened in the later seasons with some good character development. Ice King from Adventure Time saw it for the first time at around 12 years old. I grew up as I watched his backstory as an adult and feel sad, because he was just alone and mentally ill because of the crown. Taught me that there is a lot going on behind the surface, so I shouldn't be too quick to judge. Hank Hill. To my child self, he was a boring hothead. He followed too many rules. He stifled everyone's adventures. He took his job too seriously. He took life too seriously. As an adult, I love Hank. I want to be Hank. He is a reliable employee. He is responsible. He takes pride in his home. He cares about his community. He just wants the best for everyone. Goofy in the Goofy Movie. I thought he was so mean for forcing Max to go on a vacation instead of letting him do what he wanted and have fun his way. But as an adult, and especially now with my own kid, I completely relate. He is just trying to have one last bonding moment with his son before he goes away. Max needed to stop being a whiny lil sh*t and just do it too for his dad. To realize how much this meant to Goofy because he loves him and knows how much he is gonna miss Max. Filch from Harry Potter, guy just wanted to do his job without Harry, Hermione and Ron blowing up a chunk of the building every year. No wonder he blamed Harry when he was grieving for his dead cat, the only thing that loved him. Edgar from the Aristocats. The retired opera singer lady was going to leave her fortune to the cats, and once they died then Edgar gets whatever is left? Why not leave Edgar the money with the stipulation he should care for the cats? I would be furious if I dedicated my life to serving this woman and then she writes her cats into the will before me, lol. Karen Filippelli from The Office. She was the thing that kept Jim and Pam apart for a whole extra season. But in reality she was just a girl with a boyfriend who was clearly in love with someone else. Karen did absolutely nothing wrong, but years ago, I hated her character. Now I feel bad for her. Magneto from X-Men. Cersei Lannister. I don't agree with what she did, nor do I think she was justified, but I understand that everything she did was done for children, and I can respect that. You either die a SpongeBob, or live long enough to understand, even become Squidward. Wile E. Coyote. Was everyone's first thought Squidward? Skylar White. Lady was happy and content with her high school teacher husband and, for the most part, only tried to look out for her family. Dan and Roseanne from Roseanne. I used to think they were hard on the kids, now I just see that they are trying to get by. Sally Field in Mrs. Doubtfire. Allie's parents in The Notebook. Candace from Phineas and Ferb. Still not a nice character, but Meredith from The Parent Trap. In the version with Lindsay Lohan, the twins were a holes. While she wasn't happy to have a stepkid, she was trying to play nice, and they hated her from the get-go. From purposely cannonballing to get her wet and making snarky comments, to full-on dragging her to the middle of the lake, I can see why she hated them. If the twins had been respectful, she wouldn't have been the best stepmother, but I doubt she would have been the worst. I mean, the first time she was meeting Hallie splashed her and was rude. The mom from Malcolm in the Middle. I used to think she was crazy. Now I just see her as really stressed out. Rosalie from Twilight, a bit cringe, I know, face with tears of joy, but she was totally right about Bella being a threat to all of their lives/covers face with tears of joy. Squidward. Squidward hates his job, wants his peace. Childhood is thinking Tom was being mean to Jerry. Adulthood is knowing that trifling little mouse had it coming. Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender. She is only 14, guys. Poor girl is in an abusive household and wasn't able to be saved like Zuko was by Iroh. My girl is scared of her father and broken red heart. I sympathize more with Porky now than I do with the teenagers in Porky's. Also, I am in my mid-40s and look younger than some of the teenagers in that movie. Hades. The mom from Mrs. Doubtfire. Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He's now my fave character. Stinky Pete, no one wants to be locked up then when they have chance it's being taken away. I know Jesse had it like that, but he took it a bit too far. I don't remember his name, but that one kid from Toy Story that took the toys apart and whatever. I now realize that he was actually really creative, lol. Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh. I always thought he was too tightly wound, but now I just realized that he was only that way because Pooh was always making a mess. Chandler Bing from Friends. As a child I liked character of Joey and Phoebe. Later I liked character of Chandler Bing. Apparently you have to be mature to understand Chandler's joke. Jenny from Forrest Gump. Squidward. No explanation needed, I totally feel his pain. Squidward. I always hated how sad and miserable he was. But now I can relate to him. George W. Bush. When I was a kid, I thought he was pure evil. As an adult, I realize he's just incredibly stupid. Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace. Wesley Crusher. Moshe from Stormlight Archive. Everyone's saying Squidward, I'm saying Squidward. Mola Ram. Mrs. Chasen, the mother of Harold Chasen in Harold and Maude. When I was young I fully identified with Harold. His mom was just an annoying self-indulged elite. As I have gotten older, I can totally relate to her struggle and how Harold's behavior was horrendous. Still love the film, and the opening song Don't Be Shy continues to make me weep. Reply Trend suggests that the answer is always parents or people with life experience. Who would know? Most parents. Though there are obviously still many exceptions to that. Homer Simpson, as a kid I just thought he was just a hothead lunatic. Then I realized his upbringing and understood his character more. His parents divorced as a kid, his mother abandoned him, his dad was unavailable, and he was a smart until getting a crayon stuck in his brain. Sigh. And sometimes we do have a Ned Flanders in our lives, the annoying family friend who likes to preach about how good they are in every way possible, minus the strangling Bart. Why you little? Hank Hill. Old school father stuck in his old ways, unable to bend or try new things. The older I get the more I can relate. The Grinch. Dementor the guy Sinbad played from Jingle All the Way. He gets it. Blue from Inside Out. The Hulk. Honestly I always hated when he showed up in comics as the always overpowered character trope seemed lame. I don't know if it's that the writing has improved or just I realize now the little bit of depth he has and how it contributes to his overall character. Benson from Regular Show. Azula. I only saw her as a villain as a kid, but now I understand how she's also a victim of her father. I didn't despise him, but as an adult I understand Dr. Venture from the Venture Brothers a lot better. King Triton. Ariel was such an annoying teenager. Tom from Tom and Jerry. Jerry is the real troublemaker. Poor Tom, sad face. The Grinch. I see how he finds things quite annoying. Lois Wilkerson. Didn't understand as a kid. Understand as a father. Red Foreman from that 70s show. Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Darth Vader. Kevin from Ben 10. Miranda Hillard, Sally Field, in Mrs. Doubtfire. That poor woman. I disposed and was very afraid of the air conditioner in The Brave Little Toaster. I recently rewatched and realized I understand the air conditioner. Side note, I never remembered this moment as a child. Sobbing. Most on-screen parents/teachers. They just want to raise these children right, but this particular group of 2 to 7 kids are making their lives harder for laughs. The mother from Malcolm in the Middle. Not exactly a villain, but as a kid thought she was a terrible example of a mother. Now as a parent myself, I totally get it. Poison Ivy. Then, she's using plants to attack Batman? Super lame. Now, yeah, okay, that guy dumping toxic waste under the playground totally has it coming. You go, girl. Bill Foster from Falling Down. Eeyore. I thought he was such a nega Nancy who perpetually trebuchets negativity everywhere. But as an adult, it's either myself who's that or I easily spot it in others. Jimmy Savile. Squidward from SpongeBob. Iceman. He was the good guy. Chief, from Fox and the Hound, he never did hate Copper. And wasn't ever mean to him. He just had a stern way of teaching him, but he was definitely happy to have a buddy. Every villain in every Disney movie. You realize when you're an adult not everything is black and white or good and bad. I didn't despise her, but Lois from Malcolm in the Middle. Now as a mom of 3 with an absent-minded husband I have morphed into her. Al from Death Note. The angry squid from SpongeBob, ick the name in English. He's annoyed about life and just wants to rest. Eustace Bagg. James from Pokemon, I think I totally understand his pain now. Filch from Harry Potter. Captain Hook. When I was a kid he was mean and nasty, but now I understand his hatred for alarm clocks. Meredith Blake in The Parent Trap. I used to find D.W. Reed annoying as a kid. While I wouldn't say I understand her as an adult, I now think she's the funniest character in the show. Neil from The Office. I used to think he was a killjoy, but actually he was just doing his job and actually trying to help David. David couldn't be helped and he was terrible at his job. Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But nowadays I understand Roderick and respect him more. Al Bundy. I get it now. Al Bundy. Al Bundy and Red Foreman. When I was a kid, I thought they were just crotchety old men who didn't know how to have fun in life. They're who I grew up to be today and I sympathize with. Minus the marriage though. Shane from The Walking Dead. Aside from being a weirdo when it came to Lori, the dude was already in survival mode and ready to do what it takes to survive. Rick and the others weren't, and so it painted Shane as the bad guy when I'm fact dude was low-key right about a lot of stuff. And Rick ends up becoming like him anyway. Draco Malfoy, now he's my fave character LMFAO. The Terminator. Skynet was onto something, getting rid of the virus that is humanity. We all grow up to be Squidward. The father in Dead Poets Society. Yes, that father of the kid who kills himself. I'm sure he could have handled things much better, but he was trying to do what was right for his son's future, and Robin Williams' character was nothing but a horrible teacher that went against parents' wishes. Thanos. The parents from My So-Called Life. I always thought Angela's mom was annoying, now I am Angela's mom. Squidward, I don't want to talk to my neighbors either. Definitely Squidward Tentacles. Just wants to be left alone 100% of the time and play clarinet, pleading face, pleading face, pleading face. Paris Geller from Gilmore Girls. The Dean from Ferris Bueller. Yeah, he went too far when he broke into Ferris' house, that was way across the line, but I get it now. The Punisher, some people just need to die. No second chances. A lot of people would say Calvin's dad, but I just find teaching kids wrong things about science to be very infuriating.
Nana Komatsu.
I understood her heartbreak and her actions better now as an adult. I used to think she was too impulsive.
She was just on the rebound all along. Squidward from SpongeBob.
Not sure if someone said it in this huge thread, but I can relate. LOL 29 now.
Squidward sort of. Squidward Q, tentacles.
Squidward, self-explanatory really. Squidward. Having to work with stupid optimistic young people then go home and enjoy a hobby that I'm not very good at are things we both share.
Squidward is definitely the good guy in SpongeBob.
Squidward. Sleep is vital.
If the answer ain't Squidward, it ain't right.
Always thought he was a buzzkill when I was little, and now that I'm all grown up I 100% understand why Squidward is the way he is. Squidward. I didn't despise him per se, but I never understood why he was so negative all the time. Now as an adult I realize how funny he is and how relatable he is to young adults. He's my favorite cartoon character of all time. Squidward, Benson, Nicole Watterson, Meg Griffin, basically the character who got punched down by the world for trying to stop the main character's shenanigans. Honestly, Thanos, we're the cancer of this earth, and whilst his methods were extremist, I can't help but think the guy has a point.
Emperor Palpatine.
Patrick Bateman. Watched American Psycho in high school and was like, rewatched it in my 30s and also think my mask of sanity is about to slip.
Almost all supervillains TBH.
My dad didn't know why he got so angry at mom sometimes.
Now that I'm married, I know why. Tom. Gargamel.
Didn't despise him but didn't care that much for Schnitzel from Chowder. Now like with Squidward I sympathize with him.
Miss Hannigan from Annie. Maybe I'm just weird, but my mind didn't really change on these kinds of things. Miss Hannigan. No explanation needed. Myself.
Never despised him, but the older I get, the more relatable Squidward gets.
Commander Hayes from Robotech.
As a kid, I liked Lin Min-Mei, but as I got older, I realized how toxic she was and how Hayes was the best girl.
Michael Jeter in Air Bud.
The Butcher from The Boys.
Count Dooku. Fred Flintstone.
Toph from Avatar, The Last Airbender. It just didn't like her for no reason, but I get her. Probably the deepest story for me.
The dad on The Wonder Years.
When I was a kid he seemed like such a grump.
Now he's my favorite character. Heartbreak Kid.
I don't have anything for who I hated as a kid, but I do have one going the other way around.
Mabel Pines.
I always hated BMO from Adventure Time when I was younger.
Now I've learned to really appreciate their sense of humor and innocence.